Jai Shri Krishna. I first want to thank the Patel family, which there are at least 50 of you here. I mean, the Patel family. I want to thank Meenakshi Auntie, Ashok Uncle. You guys are awesome. You've been so supportive. And thank you, most importantly, for Avani and molding her into who she is today. I also want to thank Madhuji and Jagu Uncle. They are Avani's aunt and uncle. You two, they're sitting right here, if you can just raise your hands. You two have been the silent partners responsible for so many successes. There is no need to study the Gita because you two have lived it. We can all learn so much about philosophy and about life just by looking at the two of you. I want to make sure that your sacrifices and your efforts are applauded tonight. Both of my parents have been incredibly supportive of this wedding, this marriage, my dreams, my choices. My father has quietly taken care of so many people, family, friends, even acquaintances, without any expectation of getting anything back in return. I had no clue the extent of this until I went to his 30-year college reunion 3 years ago at the IIT Madras a few years back. And not only did he honor his classmates who had passed away, but other classmates spoke so highly of him because he spearheaded campaigns to raise funds to care for their widows and to get their children educated. Earlier this year, a note came across my desk, and I thought it summed up my parents quite well. I quote, "Last year, we were so touched Ramu Uncle and Manika Auntie flew all the way from Houston to Boston for just one day, stayed at a hotel at their own expense, rented a car, and came to our charity show. Beyond this, they have shown all sorts of support and affection for our family and our charity year after year. Ramu Uncle and Manika Auntie are the most amazing relatives and friends one could wish for." End quote. I've studied the Gita actually 2 or 3 times. I'm not sure why I did that because the most important principles from the Gita were planted in my house from the day I was born. My parents have been practicing Dharma all along. Avani and I are very fortunate to have been raised in deeply divine and selfless families, whether we knew it or not. I want to thank everyone here for coming out. We have people who've flown in from all around the world. Canada, India, England. Someone even came from Iraq. We wanted to keep this small for the most important friends and family in our lives. Taking off a few days of work, flying across the states, staying in a hotel, it's difficult stuff. This weekend is also tough because it's right before Christmas. School's still going on, final exams are this week. You guys here tonight made it, and that means a lot to us. I also want to thank our vendors. I'm not going to name all of you one by one. We actually have a few media publications here covering our wedding weekend, so you'll likely be featured in those outlets. All right, so now, ladies and gentlemen, if you could turn your seats towards the video screens. I've got some visuals to share with you. So for some of you, this is the first time you're getting to know me. It's been tough to catch up with everyone individually this weekend, so I hope you'll take whatever time I have here on stage and consider this to be our meeting and getting to know each other. Most of you here have likely read on our wedding website, and as Minister Jason Hartman said earlier, that Avni and I met on the dating app Coffee Meets Bagel. That's the short, next. Yeah. That's the short, simple, and quick explanation, but it's not the entire narrative. I'm speaking to you tonight to tell you the full account from my perspective on how Avni and I met. It's not a love story that was just determined by a swipe on a cell phone. Inderjeet, next. Yep. It's a journey that spans multiple cities, countries, astrologers, gods, religious and spiritual zeal. You see, from 2012 to 2014, I found myself extremely unhappy living in Baltimore, Maryland. So to tell you why, I was mugged my first month there. During the second month, two of my neighbors in the building nearby were shot and killed as a part of a drive-by. I had no friends. Does anyone here know me from my Baltimore days? Yeah. Okay, so maybe like one, two. Okay, two or three people. Okay, so I had three friends. I was tired of the gloom, I was tired of the darkness, the crime, the high cost of living. I was fortunate I'd reached a point in my business, I got started in 2013, to where I could pick up and move anywhere I wanted within the country. So one Friday evening in early 2014, I had a Skype meeting with Jason Hartman, who you heard from earlier, and we pulled out a map of the United States, researched data on up-and-coming cities, and evaluated where I could move. Jason is actually an internationally recognized real estate investor, and he knows geography and demographics extremely well within the United States. I wanted a real city, warm, safe, low cost, water, beaches, and most importantly, a place where I had a chance of finding a wife. After building an Excel model with various assumptions and data points, I identified my top cities to move to, what I dubbed Tier 2A and Tier 3 cities, places like Memphis, Nashville, Oklahoma City, Orlando, Jacksonville, and Tampa. Why these cities? I refuse to live in what I call Tier 1 or Tier 1A metroplexes like New York City, Chicago, Houston, Dallas. Not only do I find these places too big and busy, but it's extremely difficult to be a big fish in a big pond, professionally, socially, and personally. Tier 2A and Tier 3 cities have weaker competition. In other words, I thought I had a better chance of finding a wife in Tier 2A places like Tampa than I did in San Francisco or Washington, D.C. I searched online for a furnished turnkey rental within walking distance of a hospital, since I found that young Indian women tend to work in hospitals. The one I found is near Shriners Hospital, the Shriners Hospital headquarters. It's about 2 miles from here. I called the phone number listed online, signed the lease through DocuSign, sold all my furniture, packed the rest of my stuff, and drove down, all in a 1 month time span. There are a lot of old people in Florida too, which means there are lots of hospitals, which means probably lots of Indians. I had never even visited Tampa, and outside of a college classmate whom I hadn't spoken to in years, I didn't know a single soul in the area. Who here tonight lives in or is from Tampa? Tampa, all the Tampa people, let's hear it. I didn't know a single one of you 4 years ago. A year and a half into my Tampa stint, I found myself back at square one when it came to finding a wife. That's when a friend of mine told me to go visit holy places in India and pray for a wife. She said that one of her hopeless friends visited a bunch of Hindu temples, and within 6 months, she met a guy, and within a year, they were married. Now, when she told me this story, it got me thinking, because in January 2015, my older brother Karthik, then single, visited 40 to 45 temples in India within a 10-day span. And the next month after returning to the United States, he started dating his now wife, Sai Lakshmi. So what did I learn from this? I booked a ticket to India and visited the holiest of the holy India had to offer. Haridwar, Rishikesh, the holy Ganga, Kurukshetra. Someone even told me that if I was truly blessed, I'd find a wife in India during my trip. Some people in the audience actually had this happen to them. They found someone and married them 5 days later, right? Yeah, we actually do have someone in the audience who that happened to. You want to stand up? Well, that didn't happen during my trip because the women were very turned off because I couldn't speak Hindi. Times are really changing there. You'll see in this picture, this is not the girl I was expecting to meet and buy lunch for in India. So less than 2 months after returning from India, around June 2016, my mom said that our family astrologer told her my stars would change on August 4th after 6:37 p.m. Eastern Time.
That was me.
Yeah, my uncle is a family astrologer. That means I have to wait for 2 months because she told me in June. It just so happened that I matched with Avani, who was working at a hospital at the time and still does today on the Coffee Meets Bagel dating app in early August. And on the evening of August 4th, it just happened by coincidence, I asked Avani out on a date. We had only been texting each other for a few days. On August 6th, we had our first date right around the corner from this hotel at Thai Prime Restaurant. And as someone said earlier, the rest was history. The astrologer was right, the stars aligned, and exactly a year after I asked Avani out, on August 4th, 2017, I asked her to be my wife. The screenshot you're about to see now is of a recent text conversation I had with a friend of mine, almost like a big sister from Baltimore. So that actually makes it 4 friends I had in Baltimore. She couldn't make it this weekend, but she and a few other people in the audience remember my strategy and my plan to find the women of my dreams. They thought I was crazy, but I'm happy. Speaking in front of you is a promise I made a long time back. But enough about me. It's time to talk about my wife, Avani. I think when you come across truly incredible people, you hold on to them with both arms and you never let go. You stick with them forever. I'm not Hrithik Roshan or John Abraham. I'm not a doctor, even though the priest said I was yesterday. But Avani sees me for who I am. I almost gave up hope, actually. There were times I questioned myself. but I found you, Avani. It was an international search of failure after failure, nonstop heartache, and a heartbreak. So many sacrifices just to find you. Now that I know who you are, I am complete. Tonight is not just a testament to the love and commitment Avani and I have made to each other. Tonight serves as a demonstration to the community we've become a part of. Tampa is now home, and it's why we push to have our wedding here and not in Houston, Ocala, or India. Many of you are visiting Tampa for the first time. We wanted to give you a chance outside of the wedding to explore this awesome city. We hope you love it as much as we do. This is where Avani and I met, and we played very hands-on roles in every detail this weekend, from the exact songs the DJ spins to the layouts of the chairs. As with any journey, the path we take is more important than the destination we arrive. Paths can be rough, but once we reach our destination, the journey will have ended and a new one will have already begun. Ever since I attended my first wedding as a young toddler, I wondered why so many people are excited to gather to celebrate. And I think I figured it out. It's likely because the human spirit knows deep down that all lives can intersect, that serendipity and destiny don't happen on purpose. They miss one person, and in the small distance between being taken and being missed, such as on a dating app where users swipe left and right, lives are changed. Strangers are just family you have yet to come to know. 4 years ago, many of you were strangers to me. And before August 2016, Avani was as well. Yesterday, she and I became family. The new journey has already begun. Avani, today, we begin the rest of our life together forever as husband and wife. May our dreams come true with love and more. A happiness to share and the world to explore. Thank you everyone for coming out and celebrating with us. You mean a lot to us. Let's keep the night going. Jai Shri Krishna.